Welcome everyone, it's me from the future recording and putting this video before the previous video that I recorded. But I just wanted to tell you guys that, in this video I do make a lot of mistakes. I am extremely tired. It's 2:35 in the morning right now, and I'm still kind of editing everything. So if you guys could please, subscribe or leave a like on the video, it'll be extremely, extremely helpful. Write something in the comments. But just bear with me. It is a long video, but I do believe that you will find this video very informative. So without any further ado, we'll get to the video. Welcome back everyone to Crypto and More. So today we're going to talk about crypto and a probabilistic outlook in the short to medium term. This video is gonna be a little detailed. I'm gonna talk about a few coins. It'll be mainly Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I will talk about a few other altcoins. I will show you where the bottom could be. So I will give you two scenarios where the more probable bottom could be if Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto space does go down lower than where it currently is, and approximately how long this could last. So if you guys do like the content, please give the video a like, leave a comment. I would really like to know your opinion on this. But without any further ado, let's jump right into it. So right now we're looking at the price or at Bitcoin's chart on the daily. As you can see here, Bitcoin has been in a downtrend from this all-time high for about 72 days. It's dropped 45% since we've dropped below the 600 EMA. I did mention about the 600 EMA on how very important that is on a previous video in Bitcoin. If you guys have not seen it, I would recommend you guys watch it because it is extremely informative and how crucial the 600 EMA is. But I'm not going to spend too much time on that because I do have a video on it and it will take a lot longer than what the video already is or will be. So we have now recently spent about 4 days below the 600 EMA, and I did mention that if we do spend more than 2 days below the 600 EMA, we have to expect a longer consolidation in Bitcoin and the crypto space. Just a quick summary. Last time we spent, or the last two times we spent under the 600 EMA, we spent under here around 45 days. So here we were flirting with it. On this one, we were right below it, about 49 days. So quite about a month and a half on both. But I found something interesting in the charts where what if Bitcoin does go lower than where it currently is? Because obviously we've had this major dump and Bitcoin has just been trending sideways. A lot of people expected that there would be a reversal already. And the fact that there hasn't been a reversal as of yet, it's kind of scaring a few people where they believe that there might be one more dump before we actually bounce off. So if we do end up having that dump, I looked at the previous price actions and obviously found this as a major support level. Obviously, you guys know which level of support that is. That's going to be the $29,000 range. The reason why this could be one of the scenarios is because there is a lot of support there. Not only on the daily, where it has reached before a few times, but also on the weekly. So I did create this extended line so you guys can see it better. That extended line here is that $29,000 range where it's been hitting it for quite a few times before. So it's a major, major level of support. Not only that, but it also falls under the 150 EMA, where I did mention in that previous video on Bitcoin that the 150 EMA on the weekly, it's pretty accurate and where Bitcoin usually bounces off of this and it starts beginning a new trend up. One of the few times that Bitcoin did bounce off the 150 EMA and started, going into a bullish trend was here in around March of last year, where Bitcoin actually it did end up breaking below, and once it broke above, it kind of flirted with the 150 EMA, and after that, as you can see, it just started pumping extremely hard all the way to the all-time highs that it reached uh, last year at around 65 and $69,000. So March of 2020, that's when it Bitcoin, first had that jump, and we haven't seen it since actually. And there could be a chance where if it does, Bitcoin does have that dump, we might end up touching that 150 EMA, which coincides with that $29,000 range that is also a major support level. So if Bitcoin does end up dropping, it could be a possibility that 29,000 will be that last major support level before we end up seeing Bitcoin going a lot higher. There has been other times where Bitcoin does bounce off the 150 EMA, so it happened here on April of 2019 as well, where it broke above it. It kind of flirted with it a little bit and then ended up going a little higher, and we had that 2019 pump. And then the last one that I'm going to show you guys was here at the time of February, the 1st of February 2016, where we actually were flirting also above the 150 EMA. We ended up breaking it here on November 2015. And we actually started kind of bouncing off of the 150 EMA, and as you can see, since the 1st of February 2016, the week of that week of it, we just started going all the way to the 2017 all-time high. So the 150 EMA, it's been pretty consistent in where Bitcoin does bounce off of it, and we either end up reaching new all-time highs after that, or we end up pumping a good amount before we see some sort of price correction. On Ethereum, it's something similar. Ethereum right now, we're actually flirting with the 600 EMA on the daily, and same thing with Bitcoin. It's 600 EMA on Ethereum. It's extremely important. Right now, we're bouncing right on it. We also see these trend lines. I do have them on Bitcoin, but I'll come back to Bitcoin after. So we do see these trend lines again. So we've been touching these trend lines. We've been touching them since the October of last year and November of last year as well. So we've been flirting with this trend line. The reason I drew three trend lines is to measure the bottom, the top, and in the middle of it is I drew this trend line because I feel like it's been flirting with this trend line as well. Pretty significant. It's a lot more than the bottom. So that's why I drew these three. So right now we're with Ethereum, we're just bouncing off a lot of support levels. So the trend line, the support level that we had back here, where we had major support and resistance quite a few times, and as well as the 600 EMA. So unless Bitcoin falls below where it is right now to the 150 EMA that I was mentioning, I don't see Ethereum going any lower. But I drew these lines just in case it does. So if it does go lower, just like Bitcoin, and there's two trend lines that I drew here. This one is the worst case scenario, which is at 17,000. This one for me is the more probable one, which is, 1700. And here is the one that I think is more probable if we do end up breaking low below the 600 EMA, which is the $2,100 range. If we look on the weekly on Ethereum, the 100 EMA actually coincides with that 2100 price level, and the $1,700 range coincides with the 150 EMA. So the 100 and the 150 EMA, it's gonna be, and those support and resistance levels that I drew on here are gonna be major resistance or major support levels for Ethereum. So we have to keep an eye on that to see which one of these two it'll go. The more probable one, I believe, is going to be the 2100. But if we do end up breaking below that 150 EMA, and just like I mentioned with Bitcoin, 150 EMA is extremely, extremely important. Now looking at the altcoins, looking at SingularityNet. So SingularityNet currently is bouncing off this major support level because we've had support levels back here. We were bouncing off of that before we ended up shooting to its local high. Currently, we're right below it. We ended up wicking below it, bounced off of it, got rejected off of the 8 EMA, coming back down. So the lowest that I could see is this long wick that we had here in the 22nd of June of last year. If we do end up breaking below, then that'll probably be it, which is around the 10-cent mark for SingularityNet. I don't see it going any lower than that, but we might have like a wick below. I don't see it go any lower, but you know, if Bitcoin does end up breaking that support level, and if we do have that dump, then we might see Singularity and it just fall below it for a short amount of time. Polkadot was pretty interesting. So Polkadot, I measured the previous all-time high, not this most recent one, but the one before that, and that had a 79% drop, and it lasted uh 10 bars, so 10 weeks, so approximately 70 days. And the current one that we have right now, from up here to the lowest, I measured it from the lowest wick, it was 11 bars, which is approximately 77 days. Uh, if we do measure it here, it would be actually 12 bars, and it's about 80 days currently. But you know, I'm really curious to see if this would be the end for Polkadot, because it's very similar here before we actually jump up to a new all-time high. So if we do end up seeing Polkadot go a lot lower, the lowest I could see is obviously going to be those $10, but the more realistic one would be the $12 range. A little bit below that, the closings of, you know, the July of 2021. And then Chainlink is actually flirting with a 150 EMA on the weekly. Chainlink it hasn't been this low in a very, very long time. And as you can see, a lot of the crypto market, it's in an all-time low. They've been extremely low compared to where they've been from the current or, you know, local high. They've have fallen quite significantly. And as you can see, compared to Polkadot is dropped 70%. You know, Chainlink has dropped approximately around the same, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 72%. So a lot of these altcoins have dropped, you know, quite a significant amount. I know Singularity Net dropped like around 80%, which is pretty insane if you ask me. You know, to me, this is a bear market, at least for the altcoins. Yeah, 82% has been the lowest. So a lot of these altcoins have dropped 70, 80% from the local or all-time high that they have placed. I know Ethereum and Bitcoin have dropped like 50% around there. But it's been quite brutal for the cryptocurrency space. Now, if you guys lasted this long, I do appreciate it. Now we're going to talk about a realistic time frame where Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency space might start pumping. The more realistic price levels, you know, first would be following this trend line right here, because Bitcoin has bounced off of this trend line for since November of last year. So this trend line here, obviously, I like measuring the closes mostly, but you know, you can't always get them accurately. But you know, we had wicks up here where we touched the trend line at around the $67,000 range, as well here around the $65,000 range. And you know, we started playing with these trend lines that I had drawn. We had a wick up here, bounce all the way to the bottom. So it's been respecting this trend line for pretty well. If we do end up breaking above the trend line, then at the current price where we're at, like if it doesn't go any lower than 34,000, it would be approximately the 10th of February. So sometime in February, we might see Bitcoin actually start moving up. That's the soonest I see Bitcoin shoot up, would be around February. Not necessarily the 10th of February, but sometime in February. Depends on where you think Bitcoin might be around that time. Obviously, if we end up shooting above the 600 EMA before February, then we might, and Bitcoin's around 38,000 and up, then we might see it around the 1st of February. So that'll be a nice little treat for us in February. Obviously, that's if it doesn't break to those levels that I mentioned, around the $29,000 range, because if it does break all the way down to the $29,000 range, that we probably won't see Bitcoin go above it until towards the end of February. Right here, which shows around the 26th of February of next month. So next month. So we would have to wait and see. But February so far looks like a really nice scenario. If Bitcoin does end up lasting 45 days, under the 600 EMA, kind of like these two times, then we might see it sometime around the 7th of March, if I'm not mistaken. If it does last 45 days under there. But looking at the way the trend lines are looking, we might see Bitcoin above the $40,000 range before March. But obviously, we would have to wait and see. Ethereum is something similar, but I believe Ethereum is a little longer. So it's been respecting, obviously the trend lines pretty well. The only thing is that with Ethereum, it looks like it's extended a little bit. So while Bitcoin's was kind of closing in, the lower we went, Ethereum is kind of expanding. And if Ethereum does end up not going below the 600 EMA per se, then Ethereum would actually be above the trend line around the 16th of March. So a little longer than Bitcoin. If it does end up breaking below, these two levels or around these two levels, around the 2100 price level, then it would be around the 26th of March. And if it goes down to the $1,700 levels, then around the 14th of April. But obviously, these scenarios seem very, very unlikely because it would need to be under around these levels of 2100 and the $1,700 range for at least a month or so. So very unlikely. I don't think it'll be under here. If it does break down here, I don't think it'll be down here for too long. I mean, I think there's just gonna be so many people buying in. There's gonna be a lot of people dumping at the beginning, but a lot of people buying in because those are gonna be extremely, extremely huge discounts for the crypto space for Ethereum, and it's a great buy opportunity in my opinion. Not financial advice, obviously, but I feel like it's gonna be closer to this time frame, which is around the 17th of March. Obviously, Ethereum doesn't need to break it at this time. Ethereum could break the trend line way before that. So it doesn't need to wait until the 17th of March until it breaks out, but that's the latest. If it is above the trend line here or the support line, which is around the $2,300 level. But if you believe Bitcoin or Ethereum is going to be, around the 26 or maybe $2,800 level by then you're going to see it around the 23rd of February actually break off this trend line. So pretty interesting there. Just wanted to show you here that the 150 EMA on the weekly is at the $1,700 range and that the 100 EMA is at the 2100. Singularity net actually shows a little sooner than most, and if right now if we don't go down to this support level, if we stay around the support level here around the 13 cent range, then you would see Singularity net break out by the 13th of February. But if we do end up breaking down, then we're going to see Singularity net go above the trend line at least by the end of February, which is if you guys could see the similarities with these coins, is that by February or early March, we're gonna see these coins start breaking above the trend line, which is quite significant. Trend lines are very, very useful to kind of see where the trend is going. Same thing with Polkadot. Polkadot, I see it around February. I didn't quite draw a trend line, but if I do draw one right now, and I like doing the closes, but I think I'll do the high here and then the close there. So if we end up doing that, here we're gonna see around the 14th of February. So that's the week, so it'll be the week of the 14th. So Super Bowl and up. Um, I think this is gonna be quite interesting as well. I would like to see what Polkadot does at around this time. So Chainlink Chainlink, I also didn't draw the trend line, so we'll do this right now as well. I like doing the closes. I don't like doing the wicks, but we'll do that. Uh, do not look at Chainlink. Chainlink says all the way till May, but I don't think it's gonna last that long with Chainlink. I think Chainlink is gonna go above before that because it's already testing that 150 EMA on the week. Like I mentioned, the 150 EMA is just for some reason it's just on all the cryptos that I've seen, the 150 EMA is very, very well respected, and we usually get a push up above that. Obviously, if we don't break below it, we have broken below on Bitcoin, and it just was a pretty bearish downtrend still after that. So we have to wait and see. If you guys did like the video, please like and subscribe. Please write a comment. Letting me know what you guys think, your opinions on what's gonna happen. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? What other scenarios are you guys looking at? And what other indicators are you guys looking at? But with that said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.